just came in the mail.
Oh, cassette even. How excited does that make you?
I feel like a little kid.
A 1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
70,000 tons of metal.
The original, the world's biggest heavy metal cruise. 60 bands, 4 days, one cruise ship, only 3,000 tickets.
From Miami, Florida to Ocho Rios, Jamaica.
January 30th to February 3rd, 2025. 5 days and 4 nights mingling side by side with your favorite artists in this incredible fan-friendly scenario that has no comparison.
Go to 70,000tons.com and book your ticket now.
Hello, everybody. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and you are listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Bumblefoot the muffin maker.
The muffin eater.
Certain age, how do you keep up the pace that you keep up? Especially if you like to eat.
Yeah, I'm trying to slow down. I am. I'm trying. I just keep getting pulled back in, but I'm trying. I try to get good 8 hours sleep, go to the gym every morning, and try not to overdo it. Yeah, it's really the traveling is the tough.
Do you find yourself having to warm up more or do something different before you like attack because the muscles are getting or whatever they are?
What I'm finding is that the guitar is arm's reach away from me at all times that I'm here, and I'll just be on the computer the whole time, just taking care of business stuff, and next thing I know, it's like, oh my God, 10 hours passed. I got to go home. I didn't get to play. Yeah. So that's really what it is. It's like the fingers are okay. I just don't use them enough. Like if I practiced as much as I should, I'd play okay. I don't practice enough, and I need to. It's my New Year's resolution.
There you go. All right, so Bumblefoot Returns, set for January 24th release. How did you come about, or what made you decide to roll back to, like, I think your initial debut was an instrumental as well. What was the reason for doing that again so many years later?
30 years ago.
Imagine that.
Can't imagine. So it was the pandemic, and I had a lot of time, and it's something I'd thought about doing. And most of the time I start writing a song, I get a melody in my head as I'm driving, and immediately I just start singing it and sing it into my phone and put words to it, and it becomes a vocal song. But I just wanted to do an instrumental album. And I had put out 2 instrumental singles in 2019 and 2020. It's like, you know what, let me start making an album and just do a bunch of them and do an album.
Yeah.
And I just started working on it. And by June 2023, the mixes were done. And I would have liked to have it out by July of 2023.
Right.
But I was working with Whom Gods Destroy and Art of Anarchy, and getting those out and done and rolling and everything. So I slowed down on progress on my album to get those happening. And once the kids left the house and they were gone, and bands were, bands being the kids.
Right.
Then I got back to this and moved as quickly as I could, and here it is.
Is the approach to writing an instrumental record completely different than writing a record with, say, verse, chorus, bridge, or whatever?
Structurally, you just use your instincts where you feel like a song should go. What might be different is the focal point, the main melody. If you're writing for your own voice or someone else's voice, you're keeping their range and their style in mind. But on a guitar, it's a pretty wide range, so you can really do a lot more melodically.
Yeah. Is it more difficult to know when a song is over then in this instrumentally?
A song is never done. You just have to pick a point where you stop working on it.
How
And
do
that
you
goes
come
for
across?
any kind of music, any kind of song, anything, painting, anything. You could keep adding strokes, and at some point you just have to say, all right, it's time to just stop fucking with it and put it out into the world.
Right. So is that deadline based sometimes, or is that just I need to walk away, or both?
Usually it's, I need to walk away.
Yeah. Does it drive you crazy? Like you're sitting there thinking about it?
Not as much as it used to. I used to, like 20 years ago, I would be obsessed over every tiny detail and every little thing. And honestly, I still am. I think I'm just as obsessed, but I'm able to say, okay, this is done. Where maybe is it trust? Maybe I've gained more trust
Experience.
in things, experience, where I know that, okay, this is done. And I get crazy. I'm obsessing over quarter decibels of things, and
Right. That probably no one else is going to know.
no one else will hear it in a million years. But 20 years ago, I think I wasn't as confident and trusting that finished was truly finished. Where now I'm like, yep, it's done. It's good.
So you showed me the cassette, and I think one of the things that's missing in our modern music world is the art of sequencing, right? So when you're writing, I know how people do it. I talk about this a lot with, lyric-based stuff, but how hard is it to sequence an instrumental record? Because you still have to have ebbs and flows and take the listener on a journey of some sort, right?
Absolutely. So just like vocal music is the same, you don't want two songs that are maybe too similar in their groove or in the key that they're in, where it sounds like the same song twice. You always just trust your ears and your gut and your instincts. Where do I picture it going next? After how many beats of space? So little things that I tend to do, that I notice that I do, is when a song is finished, whatever the tempo is and the pace of the song, I don't just randomly space it to go into the next song. I kind of have it stay with it. So if a song finishes, bum, 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 3, 4, next song. Yeah. Where it's not random, so it's almost like your brain, the listener, is already flowing with that song, and still it's echoing after it finishes. So you just put it right into a spot. So I would tend to do that sometimes. Little
It's
things.
very much a losing or an art that's the declining, right?
Well, yeah, because if people
Everybody wants
are
one
just,
single.
yeah, if people only consume one chapter of a book and then a different chapter, but I think rock music is different. Rock music has always been band music, it's been album music, and that will never change, I don't think. I think that people who like rock music will always appreciate an album.
I 100% agree. So let's talk about guest appearances. Holy cow, you've got some big, big names. And I understand, you've been doing this forever and you've got your reputation, but how do you get Brian May?
We've crossed paths in the past, and I asked.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like,
that's what it is with anybody. You ask, and if they say yes, they say yes. If they say no, they say no. And if they say no, they don't need an explanation or anything.
no.
It's okay.
That's rock royalty, right? I mean, as rock royalty as you can get. That's great.
Yeah. I was fortunate where I didn't want a lot of guests. I didn't want this to be like this, variety show of a million guests and everything. Just certain songs seemed like they needed a certain spirit to complete them. And it was very obvious to me when I did the song. It's like there's only one person that could make this song, like just put the icing on the cake.
Right.
And, or I should say, put the cherry on top.
Right.
And I asked Brian, and he's such a wonderful soul, such an amazing person. And he did it, and it's wonderful. And Steve Vai and Guthrie, an old friend.
Yeah. Sherinian, yeah.
Yeah, Sherinian was easy. We're in how many bands together? We're constantly
Right.
working together. I was like, hey, want to play in it? Sure.
Right.
And yeah, there's only one person that I asked that they listened to the song and said, it sounds like the song is finished, and I don't think there's anything I can add to this.
Right.
That is the song Greekstown Crossing. There is one person that I thought would have really been just right for that song.
Mm.
Joe Walsh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
I guess if he's not feeling it, then it's not worth doing anyway, right?
I mean, what he said was that he felt like the song was done and he had nothing to add to it.
Right.
I disagree.
Right.
But so what I did is what I imagined him doing. I used a talk box and did a solo with a talk box, and instead of like a slide, I did it all on Fretless. So I did a Fretless talk box solo, what I envisioned his approach would be. So that was definitely inspired by him, Peter Frampton, all the talk box greats. Yeah.
Right. You mentioned this was written during the pandemic. How much of that mass stuff that was going on seeped into the music?
Whatever you're experiencing and feeling and living always seeps into whatever music you're writing at that moment. So,
So do you look back now and think it's too dark?
no, not at all. Because it wasn't always dark. I mean, even the whole idea of the pandemic overall is pretty fucked up. You know, and they all are. Any what's the word? Any mass extinction
Right.
is, yeah. So there were certain songs, like the song Funeral March. That song I really pictured. I watched a lot of old Twilight Zone all the time, still do, never stopped. My favorite thing, I think it's the best thing that was ever on TV. There was one episode where there was this road and there were all these people just walking almost like in a just zombie trance, like they're so worn out, soldiers walking down this road, and they're coming back from the Civil War and they're just destroyed from it. And I almost felt like there was a bit of that going on. Like you're so beaten down by a lot of the personal losses and just the non-in-person, just humanity losses that were happening. And it almost felt at times like that, just, you know, just like dissociated, zoning out, like surreal, just, you know, just what the fuck.
Was it a cathartic record to write?
Yeah. So even in that song, needed like a crying violin and just very sad changes, and I pictured almost like Louisiana, just this, you know, with the bell and the timpani.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And to me, it was just a lot of the songs were just visualizing and capturing what I pictured and just making the sound of it, which is what I love to do. I love making music for TV, horror movies, video games, and I've been doing that for decades. And it definitely played into the songs. They weren't, for me, it wasn't about guitar. It was about what do I feel? And that's the kind of song that's coming out at this moment. I was watching something about old blues guitar players and started playing this sort of just fun little riff that reminded me of what I was watching and lifted me up, and that was Moonshine Hootenanny.
Wow.
And I was writing a lot of stuff with Whom Gods Destroy, which was really very dark, chromatic, low-end, weird shit. That would become things like the middle section of Moonshine or Monstruoso or the opening riff of Simon in Space. Those weird riffs where it's like, where's the one? and I can't sing this.
So is that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but is that how a lot of this comes about then in pieces?
It wasn't all pieces like I made that piece and I said, where do I put it? It's more that these are just the things that you're living, and as you're living and as you're doing,
You record them.
those things infiltrate.
Right.
Yeah, they get in there.
Okay. Are you planning on taking this out on the road at all?
I don't know. I'm not planning on touring. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
But
whole touring business is so fucked up. There's
there's challenges right now. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's always, in any era of being a musician, there are different challenges right now. There's definitely some serious touring challenges.
What about one-offs? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, which I've been doing a lot more of. Doing a lot of teaching camps, a lot of music camps, one-offs.
You still in Brooklyn?
New Jersey, Central Jersey.
Okay. You were in Brooklyn for a while, right?
Actually, I was born in Brooklyn, lived there till I was 5, moved to Staten Island, then had a studio in Brooklyn in my 20s. So I was back in Brooklyn then. And yeah, I just always bounced around the boroughs in Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey, Staten Island, Brooklyn.
Yeah. I grew up on Long Island. I'm in Richmond now, but I spent like 26 years in Long Island, New York City.
Very nice.
So one-offs are a possibility, and people still can. Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, my love is producing and teaching and really being more of a coach than being on the field. And that's the best way to put it.
Well, you've been there and done it, right?
I've done a lot of it. And I would still do it if it was my biggest love. But really, the creative side is what I'm most passionate about. So I love producing bands, and I love being in the studio, and I love teaching. People taught me.
Right.
Other people gave me a musical life. The ones that taught me how to do things, and the ones that were supportive of what I was doing. Right. So the most important thing is giving that back and teaching other people so that they can have a musical life too. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
So that's very important to me. So this year I'm going to be doing a lot of rock and roll fantasy camps and things like that. And they're starting something new where they're doing like age 11 to 17. They're calling it like Rock Camp University. Nice. So I'm going to do a ton of those in Chicago, LA, Long Island, Jersey, wherever I can do them. And a lot of festivals. I love playing just good one-off festivals where you get together with people and just have fun and play. Yeah.
Record comes out the 24th. Bumblefoot Returns. Are you pretty active social media, or
very much?
Fans want to find you, just Bumblefoot?
Yep, everything Bumblefoot except TikTok, which I have like maybe 3 followers. I'm too old for TikTok, so
I don't know how to use it either.
Bumblefoot official, and everything else is just Bumblefoot. So yeah, the album vinyl, double gatefold vinyl with 2 discs, and one of them with a UV art pressing, cassette, crazy enough, and CD of course, and streaming and everything. Yeah, wherever people can hear it.
Ron, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate you always taking the time.
No, it's a pleasure, absolutely, and it's good to see you. And
yeah, you too. Let's do more stuff. Thank you, my friend. Be well. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, this is Bjorn from Soulwork, and this is Brutally Delicious.
Hey there, heavy metal maniacs and kitchen crusaders. I'm Bruce Moore, the host of the Brutally Delicious podcast, where we whisk up a blend of metal and food to quench even the most discriminate tastes. Have you ever wondered what your favorite metal musician chows down on before they hit the stage to melt your face off? Well, look no further. Here at the Brutally Delicious podcast, we have cooking segments so brutal they'll make your oven want to headbang. From beefy, bodacious burgers to spicy, succulent salmon, to kickin' caliente cauliflower, and more. We mix metal and culinary creations, resulting in a feast for the senses.
But wait, there's more.
Hey,
this is Michael Monroe. Brutally delicious. Isn't that beautiful? See you down the road.
Each week, I meet with the mammoths of metal for interviews that are spicier than a Carolina Reaper. Get the latest on their upcoming shows, behind-the-scenes stories, and if we're lucky enough, maybe they'll share a secret family recipe or two with us. You'll also want to check out our weekly album and show reviews, where we dice, slice, and serve up our unique takes on the latest metal releases. So grab your leather apron, crank the volume to 11, and subscribe to the Brutally Delicious podcast on your favorite podcast platform. It's sure to be a hell of a time.
Oh, hey there. It's Tim from Protest the Hero. Now that you've seen my junk, I'm going to show you how to make a pizza. And you're watching Brutally Delicious.
What's up, everybody? Max Cavalera, Soulfly, and you listen to Brutally Delicious podcast. Stay metal, motherfuckers.
Brutally delicious.